is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and the DFS Picks and Prediction Show. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday at 7 o'clock from Eastern Time, where me, Weezy, Monk, and Gordo, but this week, Lou, break down this upcoming card from a DFS perspective and give our predictions on the fights as well. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio so you don't miss out on all the other content throughout the week. And if you guys have not done so already, be sure to join the Pub Sports Radio contest. Sign up on pubsportsradio.com. If you do not have an account, make an account. It's pretty easy there. They're going to do winner gets $100 the first. So it's basically like a Tapology format. You give your pick, the round, the method, and whoever gets first place gets $100. So be sure to check out that contest on Pub Sports Radio. It is a weekly thing. So start getting in on that. It is free money if you do win it. I did get third place last week due to Ketlin Vieira not getting the win. So hopefully get it this week. But yeah, as always, we're going to go back and forth through each panel member, talking our fight to target, fight to fade, fighter to fade, favorite dog, price picks, GPP play, cash play, value play, dart throw. We'll go over our lineups from last week. We'll talk about our lineups for this week. We'll give our quick picks, answer any questions, and then we'll head out of here. But I am here with Weezy, Monk, and Lou. We'll start with you, Weezy. Are you looking forward to UFC 283 stacked 15 fight card?
Yeah, very much so. It's a great card. And the next card that we have for the Louis Spivak card is a disgrace to humanity. Oh. It's a disgrace to the sport. It's a disgrace to the people who watch the sport. And it's just a disgrace in general. So we've got this week, we've got a week off, and then we got a week of trash. So let's enjoy what's right in front of us this week. 2 title fights, 15 fights. Joe Benavidez in drag. The debut of the Bone Fiend brothers. We got a treat coming up this Saturday. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I might quit content. You might not see me next week or in 2 weeks. That UFC Vegas 68 card is the worst card I've ever seen by a mile. We got Monk. Monk, what is up? You looking forward to this card?
Yeah, absolutely. We got to soak it all in, like you guys said, because it's it's better than no fights. But as I messaged you guys earlier, at least we get Tatsuro Taira. So there is a shining one little ray of shining light for that card. But I'm very much looking forward to this. I hope we get 15 fights, guys. We've only had one 15 fight card come to fruition in 2 years. So we've had several of them scheduled. None of them have happened except for one. So I'm really looking forward to this one. 2 title fights. Let's go.
Yeah, by the way, Mandy Bum fights on Vegas 68. And this is how
I was trying to hype us up, and then you got to say Mandy Bum right after that. Jeez.
I know, but this is how bad Mandy Bum is. I had a bet on Victoria Leonardo. That's how bad she is. So,
yikes.
I can't believe they're giving another shot. But
we got 2, and we cashed that bet, did we not, Brady?
We cashed
that bet at plus money.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, but man, we're going to have to do it again. So we got Lou Betcha joining in for Gordo. Lou, what is up? You looking forward to the card, man?
Yeah, and how dare you disgrace a card that has Dennis Tululin against the Iron Turtle?
Tululin!
That's the fight I never knew I needed. I'm like, I could watch that fight. Yeah, it's a pretty bad card. But that's then. Let's talk about the now. This card is really interesting betting-wise. I wouldn't have thought so at first with so many wide lines, but I'm on some dogs. I think DFS-wise, this is a real challenge with so many, like 9,000 and above people that have incredible finishing equity here.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a challenging card just because there's so many great plays that stick out. There's so many fights you want to target, but we'll get into it, guys. If you guys can please like, subscribe to the channel, all the good stuff. It does go a long, long way. But we're going to start with the fight to target, and we will start with you, Monk. What is your fight to target for UFC 283?
Well, let's see. Fight to target. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the main event, I guess. Teixeira and Hill. There's one of 2 ways this... I mean, Teixeira has made the optimal lineup twice in his past 2 fights. And if you recall, he did lose a fight in his last 2. He lost to Yuri Prochazka, scored 106 points, something like that, with no bonus. Something ridiculous. He's scoring like he never has before, like a point over his average pace. His career pace is 3.57 points a minute. In his last 5, 4.55, guys. He's got 4 wins, averaging 111 per win. I mean, this guy's 43. How long can this go on? And that really is the question, guys. How long can this go on? We're getting him at 7,800. If he can take Jamahal Hill down, which seems like an easy enough task if he can avoid getting smashed first, he's going to score very well. Tons of control time, a couple of takedowns. You get this into the 5th round. I mean, there's no reason he can't score another 4 points a minute and do something with that. Hill on the other side, very simple. He's got the power, Glover's 43 years old, guys. If he connects and Hill is, Hill does what Hill does, then Glover could go down early. So we're getting a first round finish out of Hill, or we're getting a ton of ground time, wrestling time, possibly a submission even maybe from Teixeira at 43 years old. Could you imagine the scenes in Rio if that happens? So I'm going to be targeting this fight, 5-round fight. I think somebody makes optimal here.
Yep, that was one of my options. I'm going to go with another pretty clear option here. We have Johnny Walker going against Paul Craig. The fight doesn't go to decision, is sitting at -600. And, anytime Paul Craig fights, you're going to want to target his fights for and against. I mean, this guy can beat literally anybody in the division. I mean, he has a win over Jamahal Hill. He has a win over Magny Ankalaev. And I just see this fight playing out one of two ways. Either Johnny Walker goes out there and knocks Paul Craig's head off, or Johnny Walker either A, knocks down Paul Craig, or B, Paul Craig pulls guard, Johnny Walker makes a mistake, falls him down to the mat, and Paul Craig locks up a submission like we've seen time and time again. So I'm going to be very high on this fight. We have Paul Craig 7,500, one of the more intriguing dogs on the slate, and we have Johnny Walker at 8,700, who I think does have first-round knockout upside. So another fight with a very wide fight doesn't go decision line, just like the main event, and a fight I'll be very heavy on. Weezy, what fight are you going to be targeting for this week?
Yeah, I went with Teixeira Hill as well, but I mean, I know that there's one other good one that I'll leave for Lou. But yeah, 5-round fight for Teixeira Hill, priced at 84 and 7,800. That's really important this week because we've got these two main events, the two title fights where you can get the expensive guys for 8,400 and 8,200. It's a great anchor for a lineup on a 15-fight card. And when you go with these guys here, whether it's Hill, who's the favorite at 8,400, or Teixeira at 7,800, you got guys that score a ton of Draftkings points, a lot of finishing equity on both sides here, a lot of wrestling up and down. You got good takedowns from Teixeira. You got good get-ups from Jamahal Hill and some potential of some reversals on the ground. And both of those guys are pretty durable too. So you could see a situation that when I broke that fight down, I thought it might have a lot of similarities to the Teixeira Prochaska fight, because Prochaska's got no quit in him. He's got bad takedown defense, but a good get-up game. And he hits really hard from a long way away, just like Jamahal Hill does. So I could see this fight, playing out in a similar fashion. And that was one of the highest scoring Draftkings points, scoring fights of all time. So I think it's a great one to target both sides of. Whoever wins this fight, I would be shocked if they didn't wind up optimal, even on a 15-fight card.
Yeah, especially these price tags. I think we got to take advantage and put in our lineups as much as possible. Lou, what fight are you looking forward to targeting for UFC 283?
Well, I figured I'd have to change it. One of you three would have said McKinney and Bonfim, but I mean, how do you not? I mean, McKinney, his worst win that he scored was against Yam. He got 97. See, even Bootsy knows. I wasn't Bootsy.
I think I was a cat.
Against Yam, he got 97. He usually goes over 100 points. McKinney, when he wins, he's got takedown upside. And also, he has pretty well-known cardio issues, and his striking defense isn't great. Bonfim, if he survives the first few minutes of the fight, really live for a finish himself. Even a second-round finish, he's going to 10x the salary. So the winner of this is probably going to score, at worst, 95 points. So and I think you have to play both sides of it. Yeah, and I think I'm going to be overweight to the field on Bonfim here because I feel like McKinney is just going to be, at his price tag, so popular.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the most popular plays on the slate, that's for sure. But yeah, some of these fight is good decision lines. I mean, we have Teixeira Hill like -550. We have the McKinney fight like -650. I think I saw -800 on a book for the McKinney fight. Paul Craig fight doesn't go to
Rodrigues fights like that too.
Rodrigues I saw is like now -600 for the fight doesn't go. And there's one more. Oh, Almeida Shamil is -1,000. So I think we're going to get some violence this week for sure. But yeah, this is next section, the fight to fade. I will kick this one off. There's not a ton of fights I'm looking forward or to outright fading, but I guess the one, if I had to pick one, it would be Jéssica Andrade going against Lauren Murphy, just due to the fact that I'm gonna bank on Murphy's toughness here. I've never been a Murphy fan. I don't think she's that great. She's now 39 years old, but what she is she's very, very tough. She's only been knocked out once in her entire career. It was against Valentina, and it was late in the fight. So I think Andrade does win this fight. But I think she wins it by decision. And I just think there's so many better options. Like Andrade is 9,400. You have Almeida up there at 97. You have, Josiane Nunez, who I'm very high and up there at 95. You can go down and get like a Johnny Walker. So Rodrigues is up there as well. So I'm just going to be fading this fight as a whole. Just no reason to touch Murphy at all. Maybe in cash because she's so tough, but this is the fight I'm going to be fading this week. But honestly, I kind of struggle because I think a lot of these fights are in play, even with 15 fights. Weezy, what fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys Thiago Moisés versus Melquizael Costa. Thiago's priced up to 9,000 for a guy who's only scoring 1.95 DraftKings points per minute. So in a decision win at that pace, you're scoring actually less than 60 DraftKings points. In Thiago's 5 UFC wins, he's averaging only 76.78 points per win, not per fight, per win. So paying up 9,000 for him this week is taking a big chance on this card in particular, where so many fighters have better inside the distance lines. Costa's making his UFC debut on short notice, so he's a risk too. Even at 7,200, because who knows what this kid's going to have at the UFC level. So I don't see Costa scoring much, and I see Thiago, unless he gets an early finish here, probably not doing that well either.
Yep, I don't hate that. I don't hate that call at all. The only thing I'd worry about would be a Moisés first round sub, but even then, I think we have a lot of first round finishes, so I'm not overly concerned about it. Lou, how about you? Any fight you're fading this week?
I agree that I think it's tough to almost get away from anything on the card, but I'm going to fade Lacerda Stamen. I think the line's crazy wide to begin with, but you look at Stamen's wins, even the ones at DraftKings isn't showing. I'm not including Terry and Ware. I'm not going to go back to that far, but the Kelleher win, he doesn't score well. The Alejandro Perez win, he's landing 48 strikes. He has no takedowns. The Caraway fight, a lot of strikes, but no takedowns. It's just not a guy that scores well in a win. And also, I realize he's fought a lot of killers in the weight division, but just not a guy that scores a ton. And Lacerda, yeah, he could. He has sub equity. I think that's his win condition here. I don't know how he wins a decision, but I kind of see Stamen just keeping him at arm's length and just kind of battering him for 3 rounds, but no takedowns. So, how many strikes does he have to get at the salary to really pay it off? And I just don't think Lacerda's chances at all in this fight. So, and the only reason I didn't say Lauren Murphy is because when she wins these weird split decisions, she does get 85 points. It would be great for her salary, but yeah, that's my other one with you.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially on the statement. But I was watching the shout to Marley and Gordo. I was watching the Kill Shot podcast today, and Gordo's all over Stamen, which I wish Gordo was here to kind of talk about it. But he loves Stamen this week, and that was his Kill Shot pick. So I'm kind of the other way. I'm not really high on Stamen this week, personally. Monk, how about you? What is your fight to fade?
I agree with Gordo. I think Stamen's going to be extremely low owned for a 9K guy, and if he can avoid the Gilly, he should have no problem here. My fight to avoid, I'm going to give you probably Burns and Magny. Although I do know Magny has been, finished in several of his last, all of his UFC losses. I think 6 of 8. I think this one probably goes to decision. If not Burns, though, he has won by sub in the UFC 4 times. He's averaging 100.89 points per submission win. At 9,300, that's probably not going to do it on this card. He's going to need many more points at that salary to make optimal. So I'm banking on his 97 points per win in his last 5 and just 3 points a minute to keep him kind of out of that optimal range. Neil Magny on the other side. I think he's covered everywhere by Burns. I think Burns wins this fight. I think the salaries are right where they need to be, but Magny offensively, he's not good. 2.29 points a minute, 85 per win in his last 5 fights. Other than that, in his whole career, he's only averaging 93 per win. He is $1,360 under his average salary, but his average value is less than 7. He's going to have to, pretty much any win over 85 or 90 puts him on the optimal at this salary. But you got to expect Burns is just going to wrestle and chill on top of him against the cage or just hang out on top of him and bank control time minutes. So if he gets the sub, I'm thinking he won't get enough points to make optimal. And if he gets a decision win, should be dominant, but again, probably not quite 100 points. So I'm going to fade the Burns Magny fight here.
Yeah, I think Burns should rule in this one, but I do like other options up top. Fighter to fade, I'm going to kick this one off, and I'm going to shit on Cody Stamen again. So, Yeah, like Lou said, like he just doesn't ever score well unless, he's fighting Eddie Wineland and the Juan Lacerda. I know it's a big step down in competition, but he's not Eddie Wineland here. I think Stamen wins. Like, I'm very confident that he wins. He has to avoid the sub, but, I kind of see him not going for takedowns here, using his defensive wrestling to keep it on the feet. And I think he can get a finish, but I think it's going to be kind of late. So I can't ignore, these other plays up here who I think have first round knockout upside. I'd be very shocked if Stamen won this fight in the first round. So I will be fading Stamen 9,200, just a little bit too expensive for me. But yeah, he's going to be very, very low owned, but I think it's warranted. Lou, how about you? What fighter are you fading this week?
I mean, I'm trying to go by salary here because it's obvious that like you should probably not play Shamil or Zara Farron. But yeah. I'm going to say up at 8,600, Simon Oliveira is a fade for me. I think he loses the fight. I mean, I have a bet on Marcos. It's my other dog that I like, but I don't know really what his winning condition is other than jumping like Gilly, and that's it. I don't think he has the advantage on the feet. I don't really think he has a huge advantage on the ground if he does at all. If he wants to get taken down, it's, if Marcos wants to take him down, it should be there for him. So at 8,600, I mean, he's not entirely finish dependent to pay it off, but I don't know how he does it just on the feet and really on this card. Like, I think just getting 90 points isn't really what you want from him. So, and it's the first fight of the night. So you don't want to have your night ruined, when he gets knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, on top of that, he's 8,600 and money's pouring in on Marcos. This line is closing up, and it's closing up fast. Oliveira's only a minus 149 favorite, so we'll see what happens there. We'll go to Monk. Monk, what is your fighter to fade this week?
I'll give you 1.5 fighters to fade, and I'll be really quick. The first one, the half, is unfortunately my guy, Yelden Almeida. I've been waiting so long to watch him fight and put him in my lineup, and then DK absolutely F's us and gives him to us at $9,700. Guys, the average value for an optimal fighter since 2021 is 13.33, which means you need 13x about to make optimal. That means Almeida's going to have to score like 130 something. If anyone can do it, though, he can. But 9,700 is a real tough look, so I'm probably going to be under the field there. But my actual fighter to fade that no one should play ever is Nicholas Dalby. This guy's numbers are the worst numbers I've ever seen. Offensive pace, 2.25 points a minute, 64 points per win in his last 5. In his career, he's less than 70, and his offensive pace is barely even better. He is 160 under his average salary, but there's nothing to like here for DFS about Nicholas Dalby. I think Worley has him covered. I was really hoping we'd have these salaries switched, to be honest. I was hoping to get Alves at a dog price, which would have been absolutely incredible, but that is not the case. Even so, Dalby is an expensive underdog. I would be looking elsewhere. Even Moisés' numbers are better than Nicholas Dalby, so I'm big fade on Dalby. All of his numbers are atrocious.
Yeah, easy fade there. Weezy, 2 questions. Who is your fade of the week? And just got word that Ciara Eubanks has been cut.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
Finally.
How about cutting the moron that moved that fight from 135 to 125 a week out? Especially after seeing those pictures of Ciara.
What do you mean? Throw that guy a parade. He just got Ciara cut. Are you kidding me? He's a hero.
Man, I wanted to see that fight, dude. That was the fight that I thought was a really great fight, from a gambling perspective. I thought there were a lot of good lines sticking out on that one. So I was like, come on, man. I didn't want that fight getting canceled. But, rest in peace, the 8-8 Ciara Eubanks is a UFC fighter. We're going to have to move on from it, though, because this is what we do. We soldier on, people. But, yeah, it's going to be Cody Stamen for me, too, Brady. This is the dangerous week to take high-priced fighters with not much finishing equity. He's got the 5th highest salary, but he's got the 20th best inside the distance line. So, and Lacerda's a slick grappler, too. So, Cody, when he wins decisions, can rack up a lot of points when he's wrestling. He's probably not going to wrestle here because if he does, he puts Lacerda where he's going to be the most comfortable. So I see Cody having to keep this fight standing. And then you're relying on a guy in Cody Stamen who hasn't shown a lot of power at the UFC level to get a knockdown or a knockout. And it's just not that likely. So I think he probably wins by decision here. And at 9,200, you can't be getting decision wins with no wrestling.
Yep, I'm right there with you. And by the way, 11 fighters cut today. Holly and Paiva got cut. Gadzhi Gadziev got cut. Kevin Natividad, Vince Morales. Brandon Davis, Michael Trizano, which that's weird. I mean, he just got a first-round knockout win.
Somebody we interviewed got cut too.
Ludovic Shalinian, Jay Perrin, Marcelo Rojo, and Alejandro Perez. Some cuts today. My goodness.
Yeah, and that's what some of these cards, you can tell, man. You can tell when they're getting rid of fighters,
They cut Marcelo. He was just on the episode of Embedded yesterday or today, and they fucking cut him.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. I was doing the data entry for my database, and I saw a fight at the beginning of last year, and it was Sarah Moras versus Vanessa Mello. And they were both immediately cut right after that. And I laughed out loud when I saw that fight. I was like, this is them just getting rid of 2 contracts that nobody needs.
I agree. I mean, I agree with most of those cuts, but Michael Trizano, I don't agree with that one. Wow. All right. But we'll move on and we'll go to our favorite dog, and let us start with Monk. Monk, what is your favorite dog for this week?
Well, let's see here. I kind of already talked about one of them, so I won't give you him. We're gonna go with, if I can find which Bonfim brother. There we go. Mounir Lazzez. How about that? 7,400. An absolute great price for a dog shot here. This guy scores 4 points a minute, 94.71 per win, which isn't a ton, but at 7,400. It's a ton. We're almost at that 13x point, which is 98 right there. So I love to see that. Bonfim, I always say it like he's from France. He's a conehead. We're from France. Bonfim, I'll just step into it. We haven't seen him. We've seen him in Dana White Contender Series. That's it. He is technically a newcomer to the UFC. Those guys win about 40% of the time, and I'm kind of heavier on his brother this week against McKinney than I am on Lazzez here. I just think Lazzez, with his 8 TKOs, is a bit, the power and the finish ability, really. I know he hasn't shown it in the UFC as he's gone to 2 decisions, but he has scored well in those decisions. But I'm thinking the power angle as well can maybe do something for Bonfim here, even though he has never been finished. So even if this goes to decision, I like Lazzez's scoring opportunity, his ceiling, especially in decisions. He just beat Ange Lusa 88 points. He did lose to Warley Alves, also on this card, who finished him in the first round. But he did beat our guy who just had a huge week, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, in his debut by decision, put up over 100 points at 7K. So there's definitely a high ceiling here for Mounir Lazzez at 7,400. And that's what kind of makes him one of my favorite dogs of the week.
Yep, I think that's a really good one this week. Lou, how about you, dog?
I don't remember the line, but Lazzez was like a massive underdog to Al Hassan in that fight too. So I remember because I lost that bet.
It's like plus 288 is what it closed at.
I'll make this short and sweet. My favorite dog is Paul Craig, and it's for one reason. I'm not saying I think he actually wins his fight, but his winning condition is Walker going to the ground, getting in the guard, and getting submitted. If we're trusting Johnny Walker to not do something stupid, I'm all about it. I'm all about it because he hasn't shown a predilection to not do stupid shit. So give me Paul, and he needs 5 seconds. Like, he may score 0 drafting points until he locks submission on, but he's very live for a round 1 submission and get you 90 points with 0 control time, 0 strikes.
Yeah, can't argue that. I'm gonna have a ton of Paul Craig this week. I don't think he wins either, but man, at 7,500, you got to play some Paul Craig. For me, I'm gonna go with Brandon Moreno at 8,000. Obviously, this is a very competitive fight. I like the fact that he's $200 cheaper. He's actually a favorite on the money line. It looks like he's taking some money now at -120, -125 on some books. And I have concerns about Figgy at this point. He's now 35 years old. He hasn't fought in almost a year. He really struggles to make flyweight. And I'm curious to see how Figgy looks on the scales, but I was taking a look at their fights, and these fights are scoring very, very well. Like in the first draw, Moreno put up 80 points in a draw, right? In his win against Figueiredo, he put up 97, and he's just so cheap. Both these guys are. I'm going to have a ton of this fight. Probably borderline like a must target for me as well, just because these guys are both so cheap, and I think they score a ton. But yeah, me personally, I do like the Moreno side for a $200 price difference there, and I'll have a ton of Moreno this week. Weezy, how about you? Who is your favorite dog?
This week it's going to be Glover Teixeira. I've changed my pick on this fight 17 times this week. It's such a great fight. But Glover's scoring 107.38 points per Draftkings win in the UFC. And he scored over 100 points in a loss last fight against Jerry. I see a lot of stylistic similarities between this fight and Jerry Glover. So getting Glover at 7,800 is a spot I cannot pass up this week. I'm going to have him in my cash lineup as well.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of options this week. I mean, this week is crazy. I haven't started making lineups yet, but it's going to be difficult because there are so many fighters I want to play, so many fights where I want to play both sides. I think it's a kind of a tough DraftKings week this week. But last week, I was able to get first place, and I tied with 120 or so people. This week, I think the first place might even go solo just because there's so many different combinations. Next, we're going to go to our prize picks section here. Get a prize picks play out of everybody here. If you have not already, be sure to sign up on prize picks and use promo code Pub Sports. But I will throw this one to Lou. Lou, is there anything sticking out to you on prize picks this week?
Yeah, Johnny Walker under 22.5 strikes. I know we just talked about, I know I just said Paul Craig's my favorite dog, but I don't see a world where Walker lands that many.
Yeah.
If he lands 5, the fight's over. If he lands 1 and knocks him down and goes to the ground, he's not getting another one. So I don't think like this, I would have taken this. I might have taken this under like 12.5 to be honest, but 22.5 seems like a lot, unless he's just jabbing him from range for 5 minutes, but it doesn't seem like that's the way he fights. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, it could take just one knee, and that could be it. That could be the fight. For me, I'm going to take the very handsome Josiane Nunes, and I'm going to take the under 11 minutes. I don't see this leaving the first round. It should not leave the first round. I think Zara Farron's the worst fighter on the card, and arguably one of the worst fighters on the UFC roster. It's pretty close between her and Mandy Bum. Now that Jared Vanderaa got cut, but Nunes should make quick work here. If she even lets Farron out of the first round, she should be very ashamed of herself. So I like getting that extra 6 minutes just in case, but I think it's over in less than 5. So give me the Josiane Nunes under 11 minutes. I really do like that spot. Weezy, anything sticking out from a prize picks perspective?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Almeida under significant strikes here. Let's see how many significant strikes Almeida's landed in his 3 fights. Turkali, 17, Porter, 18, Danilo Marquez, 30, and then Nasruddinov, he only landed 2. And we've got an under of 18.5 here. God. I mean, the one thing I noticed when I went through prize picks this week was that everything was really, really well priced. But
Yeah, me too.
I think I'll go with 52.5 significant strikes under for Josiane Nunes. I think maybe the 10th or 15th time she hits this hoe, she's going to go back to France and just say, I've had enough. And that's if she shows up at all. So, I mean, I think that if Zara just doesn't show up, that's under 52.5 significant strikes. And I think by law, prize picks has to pay you. So That's the one I have to give you this week.
Yeah, and I even considered the Almeida one as well myself, but I could see a scenario where he is landing those, ground and pound shots. Yeah. Really, they do add up, but yeah, I'm with you on the Nunes there. And then Monk, how about you? You liking anything for prize picks this week?
I had the Nunes 11 minutes, but how is that even real? What in what world does this fight go 11 minutes? I'll switch it up though. I'll give you the I like a bunch, the Dalby under, Stamen under, probably Hill over. I like Jéssica Andrade over 97.5 fantasy points. Again, I don't know how they got this number 97.5. The numbers on this fight quickly are crazy. Andrade in her last 5 averages 111 per win. In her career, it's even better than that, 114 per win. And Murphy gives up 108 she gave up 108 in her last one. So she's given up points here, well over 3 points a minute in her last 5. I love Andrade over 97 here.
So we got Andrade over 97 strikes. We have Johnny Walker under strikes as well. We have Nunes under on the strikes, and then we have the Nunes under 11 minutes. Some solid spots there. We'll see what happens, guys. But yeah, be sure to check out Prize Picks and use that promo code Pub Sports for a deposit bonus. All right, we'll keep moving on, and we'll go to our favorite GPP play here, and I'll start this one off, and it's Terrence McKinney. I mean, Terrence McKinney is my favorite GPP play here. I think he will be pretty high owned, to be honest. I think this fight as a whole is going to be very high owned, and rightfully so. It's a McKinney fight, and I think it's a fight you're going to have to target one way or another. But, McKinney, I think he has a ton of upside. First off, I think he has a ton of power. It's not often you see Drew Dober getting knocked down. It's only happened once, and it was due to Terrence McKinney landing a big knee. I think he could absolutely go out there and knock out Bonfim in the first 60 seconds. Like, I think he has 60-second upside here. On the flip side, if he wants to wrestle, he can do that as well. If he wants to submit this guy, I think he can do that as well. Of course, you got to worry about the cardio. If this does get extended, there's going to be some problems more often than not. But I'm looking for that 60-second upside for McKinney, that first round upside. And at 8,500, I will be taking a ton of shots on the guy, but as will everyone else, and rightfully so. Weezy, how about you? Who's your favorite GPP play this week?
Yeah, it's McKinney. I mean, he's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week this week. I think he's going to go out there and actually make quick work of his smile bump theme. But yeah, 8,500. And even if he doesn't get that quick knockout, there is that wrestling and submission grappling upside for him as well. His wrestling's next level, and that's something that I think people forget about Terrence McKinney. Another thing is Terrence is only 28 years old. So there's still time for this kid to kind of remake his mixed martial arts game. He could tear it down and build it back up from scratch. And if he does that using wrestling as his base, he's going to be so dangerous if he learns how to pace himself. So I think that there's a number of different ways that Terrence McKinney could surprise you. Well, not surprise you, but do what he always does in DraftKings, which is just put a furious pace on his opponent and have a really high finishing upside.
Yep, totally agree. Monk, how about you? A GPP play for this week?
I wish I was a fish. No, I wish I could give you Yelton Almeida. Josiane Nunez is going to be the one, though, guys. 9,500. I mean, she scores almost 5 a minute, 107 per win so far. She's built like, I don't even know what, 5'2", 145, 67-inch reach, southpaw. Excuse me, my voice went away because the numbers were so crazy. Southpaw as well. Zara Farron in her 2 fights, allowing a whopping 6.38 points a minute and 114 to her opponents per loss. Guys, Nunez should smash here. I don't care if Zara Farron came in at this fight at 6'5". She doesn't want to be here. Like someone said earlier, I'll be surprised if her and Shamil even make it to the dang fight. But if they do, I mean, Nunez, crazy high value here, even at 9,500. Also, it's the best salary to play according to Salary Voodoo. It's got a 91.5% win rate, guys, and it makes optimal almost 49% of the time it's played. So give me Nunez here. I like everything about it.
Right there with you. Lou, how about you? GPP play for this week?
I told you I've made it my policy that I don't want to take in-distance props against undefeated fighters. I'm willing to make an exception for this because I don't have his ownership, but I think Gregory Rodrigues is going to be crazy low owned. And if you look at everybody around him salary-wise at this rate, you know, you got Stamen is 100 more, Burns is 200 more, and is probably finish dependent. Andrade is 300 more. Right under him, Moses, Potieria, who like I can't trust, Bonfim, who I think loses. So I like Rodrigues. He's not going to be owned by a lot of people. And even if you look at his scoring, I mean, his scores are incredible. 109 against Chidi in a fight that he was dying. 141 where he dominated Marquez. 120 against the Iron Turtle in another fight where he was in a lot of trouble. So even if he gets rocked, he still puts up over 100. I just think he's going to be like one of the forgotten people in that salary range. He's fighting somebody on short notice who's got looks like 3-minute cardio. But even if he's just pounding on RoboCop for 3 minutes, it's like, yep, seen this movie before. Like head split open, like, yeah, okay, like ready to go. So give me Rodrigues. I don't see him losing really ever in this spot. And anytime he wins, he scores, except for the Dusko fight, which makes no sense. They didn't score over 100 points in that fight. But yeah, I like him a lot here as a pretty solid GPP play.
Yep, and like you said, Ferreira, we don't know if he's durable or not, but I don't think it's going to matter because Rodrigues went out there and starched Julian Marquez, who is one of the most durable fighters. Also, Jung Young Park, he knocked him out. So I don't care how durable Ferreira is. If he's not, if he is, I think Rodrigues can still get him out of there within the first round or so. So right there with you on that one as well. All right, so we'll go to our favorite cash play, and we will start with you, Lou. We'll stick with you. What do you like for cash this week?
All right, this is where I'm going to finally pull out Nunez on my sheet here. I see no world in which she loses. If she somehow doesn't get a KO and it plays out like the Ramona Pascual fight, where she's just battering her for 3 rounds, she's still putting up an enormous score because she throws tons of strikes. She doesn't really have takedown upside, but there's no way she loses. I think in a 3-round decision win, she's still probably getting you 90 at worst, if not more. So I don't know. I don't see how she disappoints here. And as you like to say, Brady, she's very handsome. Very handsome. Yeah, very handsome addition to your lineup.
Oh, very handsome. Very, very handsome. For me, I'm going to go with the safe route, I guess you could say. Jonathan Almeida, he's a minus 1,000 favorite. I think it's a pretty easy matchup here going against Shamil, who's now 41, who's not fought in some time, who's coming off of like back-to-back-to-back knockout losses. I see Jonathan Almeida taking this guy down, pounding him out, or pounding him out, then getting a submission. I see him finishing Shamil, the very handsome Shamil, in the very first round, just putting up a massive score. I think he's the safest option on the slate by a mile. The only thing you got to worry about is if Shamil does pull out, which is very, very likely here. But if Shamil does show up, I think Jonathan Almeida is one of the most safe options on the slate, even at the price tag of 9,700. Weezy, how about you? Who's your favorite cash play for this week?
Yeah, I mean, if Shamil doesn't have visa issues, is he in Brazil yet? Because I have a feeling that visa might not come through for Shamil. But if it does, and Shamil shows up and he gets in that cage, I'm liking Gilton as a cash play because it's essentially a free square. You're talking about getting 100 points out of a fighter. It's a great way to start your lineup, and you can build around him. And look, you got 2 5-round title fights where the most expensive fighter in either of those fights is 8,400. So you can afford to go up and pay for Gilton. Not necessarily in a GPP, but in a cash lineup, I think it's a great play this week. I think he's a shoe-in for 100 points.
Yep, right there with you. And then Monk, how about you? Who are you liking for cash?
Oh God, I can't get over it. You guys keep doing this to me, man. Like the best DraftKings player that I named in all of 2022, I can't even play Jonathan Almeida. I mean, in GPPs, it's so heartbreaking. Like I'm actually brokenhearted over this, but I will try to keep it moving, guys. Jéssica Andrade is who I'm going to give you for my favorite cash play. I like Lauren Murphy, sure, but I don't think she's going to win this fight. And like I already alluded to, Andrade puts up a ton of points. I liked her for over 97.5, I think, on Prize Picks, over 3 points a minute, 111 in her past 3 wins. Like I said, 114 in her career. In her career, also, she's at 4.5 points per minute, more than Glover is in his last 5. So, I mean, these numbers are crazy. She scores well over 100 in her career. Whether she wins by KO, it's 115. Whether she wins by sub, 109, or whether she wins by decision, 122.5. She's seemingly scoring amazingly everywhere. I do think Murphy's only path to victory here is through submission. Andrade is not going to be submitted probably by Lauren Murphy. So I think she's got an easy win here. I think it, like Weezy said with Almeida, this is an easy 100 points, even if it goes to decision. I think it's utter domination from Andrade.
Yep, Murphy should pose no problems there. All right, let's go to our favorite value play. I will kick this one off, and I'm going with my guy, Paul Craig. Paul Craig, 7,500. I think this is value just because I think this fight's like 50-50. Like I can see this fight going one of two ways. Either Walker does knock out Paul Craig, or the fight hits the mat in any type of way, whether it's a knockdown and Walker follows him down, whether it's Paul Craig pulling guard. Like if this fight hits the mat in any type of way, we've seen it time and time again where Paul Craig will find a submission. And like Lou said, I don't think Johnny Walker is the smartest fighter. I saw his haircut today, and he's doing the whole braided thing with the beard as well. And I'm not sure if I like that for him. So, like Weezy always says, if you're making bad decisions in the barber chair, you're probably gonna make bad decisions in the cage. And if he does go to the ground with Paul Craig, Craig's gonna sub him. So for me, the value play is Paul Craig, just because I see this fight as a 50-50. Weezy, how about you? Who's your favorite value play this week?
Yeah, I think it's a great play to go with Brandon Moreno this week. I mean, averaged over 75 DraftKings points per fight in his trilogy with Figgy, and there's only one win in there. So you want to talk about a safe value play. You're talking about a guy who, unless there's some kind of shenanigans with the ref like you used to see in professional wrestling back in the 80s, you're not going to see Brandon Moreno getting finished. So you're getting 25 minutes out of a guy who scores over 3 DraftKings points per minute. So he's a very, very safe play this week because he doesn't get finished, because he's so durable. And because of that, he's either going to get a win by finish or he's going to give you 25 minutes in a war. Either way, it's a nice place for $8,000 to put your money in there. And that way you can go up and get guys like Gilton or Joseph Benavidez or Hobo Cop or any of these guys up top that are going to score some points.
Yep, I think Moreno's a really good option this week. I'll have a ton of them. Monk, how about you? Who are you liking as a value play?
Honestly, I'm liking the guy with the best tattoo in all on the whole card, 2 thumbs straight up, pointing at Jamahal Hill. I mean, at 8,400, this guy's ceiling is extremely high, especially on Glover Teixiera. Now, I like Glover. I've already talked about how well he scores. What I haven't talked about with Glover is how poorly he or how many points he gives up. Against Yuri, he gave up 123. And you think, wow, that's crazy. But it was against Yuri. It was a one-off. Well, over his whole career, his 6 losses, he's averaging 117 given up to opponents per loss. 117 points, guys. Well over 3 points a minute is what he gives up. Jamahal Hill, like I said, I mean, we could be looking at first round. If this gets out of the first round, obviously this is his value diminishes, quicker than, a brand new Mustang driven off the lot or something like that. But until, if he finishes this in the first round, I mean, his optimum value, like I spoke about earlier, 13x is 111.94 points at 8,400. So that's pretty simple to get to. His ceiling, I think, is 6, 7, 8, 9 points higher than that. So if he finishes Glover early here at 8,400, he could be tremendous value at like 115, making the optimal guaranteed. So give me 2 thumbs straight up at Jamahal Hill.
There we go. Lou, how about you? Who are you liking for some value this week?
This is tricky because I'm going to stick with the one I wrote down, and that agrees with Weezy. I'm going to say Moreno. The only thing I'm going to add to what Weezy said is now that you're seeing the line move and make him, he's minus 120, and I don't know if that's going to continue to climb, but obviously the more that climbs, his line value with what you're paying for him kind of makes it an auto play. So, and I think Moreno is, I think Moreno is going to get a finish here too. I think he's going to definitively end this. So I'm basing that on nothing. I'm based it on what I feel is going to happen. But if Moreno gets a finish, he way pays off his salary in a 5-round fight, even a 5th round finish. And he throws so many strikes that, I mean, there's a case to be made that even in like a weird split decision loss, he could 10x his salary. Like he could get 75, 80 points even in a loss, like in a really weird, closely contested fight.
Yep, I agree. Looks like a lot of us do like Moreno this week. And yeah, I think he could potentially finish Figgy. I mean, he's done it before. And if Figgy looks like crap on the scales, I'm actually going to pick the finish too. So I think the weigh-ins for that one is very important to me, at least. Let us go to our dart throw lastly, and we'll start with Monk. Monk, what is your dart throw for 283?
It's going to be, well, screw it. It's a dart throw. I can get crazy, and I'm going to get crazy. It's going to be Brunno Ferreira, the Hulk. At some point, Gregory Rodrigues is not going to come back from one of these near finishes. At some point, the curve is going to come back down. I don't think it's going to be against Brunno Ferreira, but for a dart throw, sure, I'll throw 5-10% onto Ferreira. If he gets a win, he's going to be extremely low owned. Yeah. I mean, in his DWCS fight, his stats are a joke. 1.5 minutes. 10.53 points a minute is what he scored in that fight. 106 is what he would have ended up with if that was an actual UFC fight. I'm picking Rodrigues. I'm probably playing him in my lineup, which we're going to go over here shortly. But like I said, one of these times that chin is going to just crack. It's like what's that old saying? It's not when you crack a rock, it's not how hard you hit it. It's the as many times as it's been hit. And that's what it takes to crack it. One of these is going to crack Rodrigues, and it could be from Ferreira. So that's worth a dart throw, in my opinion.
Yeah, someone's getting cracked in this matchup. That's all I can say. Lou, how about you? Who is your dart throw for this week?
I'm probably barely making it a dart throw with the salary, but I've talked about him before. But Mounir Lazzez at 7,400 in a fight that I think he's going to win. He's going to be low owned because he hasn't really shown finishing ability on the UFC level. I love his boxing. I love him in this spot as an underdog against. He's facing a guy who's a favorite, making his debut after the Contender Series. Bootsy knows. He knows.
I got a bet on him too, so preach.
I like Lazzez in the spot at 7,400. Even a decision win, he is 10xing easy in a decision win because then he got the strike going. And in a finish, he's a slate breaker, a potential slate breaker at the salary. I wanted to say also, even though I said fade this fight, Lacerda's probably not going to have any ownership, and he's sub or bust. So I got to have him in a few lineups, I guess, but Yeah, I like Lazzez here as my big value play on the card.
Yeah, I actually am going with Lacerda there at 7,000 because, like you said, he has 12 wins, 10 of those coming by submission. Cody Stamann has been subbed twice. They were against really good grapplers like Syed and like Sterling there. But if Lacerda is going to win this win, it is going to be sub. Whether he is pulling guard, I don't really see him taking down Stamann, but he'll pull guard. And if Stamann does go for takedowns in his own right, like Lacerda is going to be live for that sub. And at 7,000, I'll be taking some shots there. Weezy, who's your dart throw for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I like all your picks, and I mean, in particular, the Ferreira pick. You know, I don't think anybody's going to own Ferreira, and like Monk said, dude, this guy Rodrigues is getting smashed in every damn fight. And don't forget, wasn't that long ago that he got slept by Jordan Williams, the diabetic. You know, so that's a good low owned, high upside play. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you really a high floor, low upside dart throw here with Lauren Murphy. You know, because you're probably going to have to punt with one fighter this week. But in a cash lineup, I'd rather punt with somebody that I think is actually going to make it the full 3 rounds and rack up some points even in a loss, 30 to 40 points. That's what Mendoza did for me last week. Was I punted with Mendoza, but he still scored in the 30s. And there were so many of those guys down there that scored 1 point, 2 points because they were getting finished early. That, you know, I think Lauren Murphy at 6,800 is somebody that can give you some options up there on the upper ranges of the salary. And like I said, she's very durable. She's only been knocked out once, and it was by Shevchenko. And that was in round 4. So she's never been finished in a 3-round fight. If she can show that trademark durability, get a couple of takedowns, she could not only be a good low-priced option, but could potentially even sneak out a sneaky decision here at plus 700 on her decision prop.
Yep, they call her lucky for a reason. She always wins these BS decisions. And if it does go the full 15, you never know with these judges, man. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the lineups and the scores from last week for our contest there. If you guys are in the chat, first of all, leave a like, subscribe, and then comment down a comment here. Comment some comments, any questions you guys want us to pull up, and we'll get to those shortly. But I am pulling up the scores, and we have in 4th place was Monk. He had Umar Nurmagomedov 114, Basharat 97, Imavov 51, Alassane 95, Flick 8, and Carlos Hernandez 1, scoring 368.95. In 3rd place was Gordo. He had Rebecki with 104, Argueta 101, Soriano 15, Alassane 95, Strickland 117, and Hernandez 1. And me and Weezy were really close. We were 2 fighters away. I was in 2nd place. I had Rebecki 104, Charles Johnson 113, Argueta 101, Dan Ige 100, Strickland 117, and Barcelos 5 scoring 542. So really good lineup there. But Weezy one up to me there. He got Rebecki, Johnson, Argueta. He had Alassane instead of Ige. He also had Strickland, and then he had the deciding factor in Mendoza, who did score very well at 7,000. Weezy put up 565. Weezy, you're kicking off the year in 1st place.
Yeah, man, it's not how you finish, it's how you start. And I started hot, and that's all that matters. I'm already chalking up a win for the year on this one. But yeah, you know, I mean, it was a good week. I'm trying to, for this week, I'm going to be looking to put more cash lineups in, some, you know, some high up or some high C or floor low priced options that can, you know, make you go up there and get the high priced options that are worth it. So we'll see how it goes this year, but it was good to get off to a good start. That lineup won me some money on DraftKings last week.
Yeah, and I would have won too if Barcelos could have lasted the full 15, but man, Umar got him, man. Got him bad. Yeah. All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna talk about our lineups for this week. I'm sure Gordo's going to post his lineup in our group chat there, but we'll start with you, Weezy. Weezy, do you have a lineup ready for this week?
Yes, sir. So I'm going with Jailton Almeida up top, then RoboCop, then T-Rex, then Brandon Moreno, Glover Teixeira, and Lucky Lauren Murphy with the punt.
All right. Monk, how about you?
I'm going to go with Josiane Nunez, Gregory Rodrigues, Jamahal Hill, Brandon Moreno, Paul Craig, and Mounir Lazzez.
All right. Lou, you got something for this week?
I feel like my lineup should count as Gordo's lineup this week since he's not here.
If he doesn't submit one, we will.
Okay. I have Almeida, Johnny Walker, Terrence McKinney, Brandon Moreno, Marcos and Lazzez.
Oh, me and Lou are pretty close here. I also went Marcos. I also went Lazzez. I also went Moreno. And then I went Almeida up top at 97, Robocop at 91. And then I'm stacking the co-main event. I think it probably goes the full 25, and I think it does score very, very well as a whole. So we will see what happens. Can't wait to see who does well or not this week. All right, what do we have left? Quick picks, and then we'll answer any questions that we missed. I'll pull them up. But we'll start with you, Weezy. Do you have your quick picks ready for this week?
Yeah, I think so. 15 of 15 picked. Let's go. So I'm picking Jamahal Hill in the main event. I'm picking Brandon Moreno in the co-main. I've got Gilbert Burns. I'm going with oh my god, my computer is so slow. Wow. Okay, my computer's completely fucked. Jéssica Andrade. Wow. Move on to somebody else.
All right, Monk, what do you got?
I got Hill, Moreno, Burns, Andrade, Johnny Walker, Ihor Potieria, Hobocop, Moisés, Lazzez, Almeida, McKinney, Alves, Nunes, Stamen, and Olivet. Actually, I'm going to go Marcos on that one.
Lou, what do you got?
Well, you don't even have to watch the Friday show now. I have literally all the same 15 picks Monk just said.
Oh,
let's go,
all
baby.
15.
We got to parlay this shit.
So one of us doesn't have to work the show now.
Nice.
There's no
Dibs.
dissenting opinions.
Dibs.
I have literally all 15 of the same picks.
Yes. That's why we do a show together.
I can repeat them if you want.
No, I think we get it. So just the same as Monk. There we go. All right, Weezy, did you get it pulled up? If not, it's not.
Yeah, we got. So I'm going with Jamahal Hill, Brandon Moreno, Gilbert Burns, Jéssica Andrade, Johnny Walker, Maurício Shogun Hua, yeah, Rodrigues, Moisés, Mounir Lazzez, Jailton Almeida, Cody Stamen, Terrence McKinney is Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, Warley Alves, Joe Benavidez, and Simon Oliveira.
All right, I'm going to go with Glover Teixiera, one last ride. Give me Brandon Moreno. I'm going to take Gilbert Burns, very handsome Jéssica Andrade, Johnny Walker, Ihor Potieria, Gregory Rodrigues, Thiago Moisés, Gabriel Bonfim, Jailton Almeida, Cody Stamen, Terrence McKinney, Warley Alves, the very handsome Josiane Nunez, and then Daniel Marcos there. All right, I have some questions. We'll pull them up, and then we'll head out of here, guys. Justin's asking if there's MGM odds on who's going to be the winner for this year. Yeah, last year it was Gordo. I had the win in the bag. I kind of screwed it up towards the end. And then Justin's saying, what's Monk's odds? He wants to put 100 units on Monk. Woo!
It's a big bet.
Let's go, baby.
It's a big bet.
It's a big bet. Hopefully I do better than the Chargers did for that old boy who put a milli on him like an idiot.
Oh,
I got to do better than that, right?
I heard about that.
I don't know what I would do with myself.
1.4 million to win 11,000.
Oh,
he paid $1 million for like the cheapest Rolex.
He paid $1 million. He paid $1 million to be the world's dumbest gambler.
oh,
Holy shit.
Yeah, disgusting. Real Bill Prime saying, I need a shout out. I'm a PSR member. Shout out to Real Bill Prime and shout out to all the PSR members as well. We got Andy Mush saying, fellas, how y'all doing this fine evening? I'm doing good. Weezy, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I got 2 more shows to do after this. I'm doing Ask Weezy and giving you guys a greasy 4-leg parlay. So just getting started tonight.
Monk, how are you doing? This fine
Jamahal Hill tattoo. 2 thumbs up, baby.
There we go. And Lou, how are you doing this fine evening?
As Al Michaels has said on a broadcast this year, all I'm trying to do is survive the ground. It's the best that we can hope for.
He said that on television.
Also, he says, big gaping hole. But that doesn't apply to this question.
Fair enough. Justin saying, who's going to lose a decision and at least get some volume? I think whoever loses in the Figgy Moreno fight can still score pretty well. Weezy, anything sticking out to you?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I agree. I also think that if Bonfim Lazzez goes to decision, that's going to be a high-scoring loser there, because I see that kind of being mostly on the feet, and both of those guys are pretty high volume.
If that goes to decision, I'm losing a lot of money.
Yeah, well, Bonfim has never seen the scorecard, so I'm just saying if it does.
Lou, this one could be for you. Shamil not to show up and be the most handsome and best haircut same fight parlay thoughts.
Plus 150. I saw that in the chat before.
Dude,
to not show
Jéssica
up.
Andrade by a mile.
To not show.
See, that's the problem. This is Jéssica Andrade on this card.
Yeah.
And Josie Nunez.
Stop
Yeah.
it.
And
Stop
Johnny
it.
Walker has a nice haircut this week too, I will say.
Yeah.
It's tough. Lots of good haircuts this week.
It's Baby Porkins by a mile.
I see there's a question about me in the chat from Evan Zucker, and if he wants to bet me straight up, if you want to bet me straight up, then let's go, son. DM me and tell me for how much.
Lou, I didn't even.
I got one belt here. You see this? I have the one belt. This is where the MMA Ironman belt's going, and this is where the Brady's best bet competition. I'm gonna be a champ by the end of this year.
Dude, I can't wait for the best bet show. Weezy's going to be on it. Gordo's going to be on it. And I don't think anybody's touching you, Lou, at least for the first.
Tone has been set on the best bet show.
Tone has been set. All right, guys, we did it. We're going to kick it around. Weezy, let the people know where they can find you. You have a busy night tonight, so let them tell them about that as well.
Yeah, 10 o'clock tonight, Ask Weezy, 10 o'clock Central Time on Uncle Weezy's YouTube channel. You can ask me any questions about any of these fighters, any of these matchups, any of the over-under bets. I can bust out the prop template. If you want to know what the best cheese is to make Greek saganakia with, your Uncle Weezy can help you out with that. So just join us, ask me some questions, and then I'm also going to go live in a little bit here and give you guys a greasy 4-leg parlay for this week for UFC 283. Other than that, I'm done for the week, and I'll be finishing up my database and looking to improve my Patreon stats for everybody. So a lot of work going on here for the next week or so, even during the week off, but looking forward to stacking cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 283 and bathing in the blood of our vanquished Draftkings enemies. Let's go.
There we go. Speedhack will be bathing in the blood in a couple weeks.
That's right. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Every night. So he stays so fresh looking.
Yeah. He's really 1,000 years old, but he looks young. All right, Monk, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week, and some of your content you've done already.
I just put out Salary Voodoo probably an hour and a half ago, so that is live on the MMA Engine channel. We did a bonus fight this week, so we got 4 fights going on there. We went 3, and we picked 3 optimal lineup fights last week, so 3 out of 3, fantastic. Check that fight out, or check that show out. I got Game Theory, which is out on my channel, Monkmatic, spelled just like it is below. That has been out since Monday. You can catch me and Lou talking, apparently just a love fest over there. We are gonna have nothing to argue about on Friday for Monk and Lou's happy hour, but that's okay too. Sometimes it's okay to love one another. And other than that, guys, I'm really looking forward to this. Like I said, I hope 15 fights stay. I'm looking forward to Almeida absolutely smashing. Guys, 100% optimal lineup last year. Oh, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
I cannot wait for it. Lou, how about you? What do you have going on throughout the rest of the week, and where can they find you?
Lou Betcha on Twitter. Monk just talked about the Friday show, so I'll just talk about what I'm doing tomorrow. Filming the prop show tomorrow morning with Aaron the dog. I don't know how many of you guys know him, but super sharp guy. And I will be on the Protect Your Neck podcast tomorrow night at 9 o'clock with the very venerable and awesome Dan Tom. The first time I have gotten to work with Dan Tom. The second time will be for the next pay-per-view when he does the prop show. We've come to an understanding, an agreement here, a swap of sorts. So very excited to chop up fights with him. One of the best guys in the space. And then, of course, the Parsippany Laugh Shack 8 to 9 on Friday night to, pay the bills.
Let's go. And you can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers, TikTok, DFS_numbers. Check me out there. I just posted a lot of content. Go check me out. Shaking my ass on there on TikTok. Some good stuff on there. And then, other than that, live Friday, 7 o'clock, and then live for Best Bet 1 hour prior to the prelims. It's going to be a banger show. We have Weezy, we have Gordo, and we have myself. And we're going to try to catch up to Lou because he put up like a 9-unit night to start off the year. So tune into that.
Split decisions. That's how you get there.
That's it. But yeah, like, subscribe, become a member here at Pub Sports, and check out that Pub Sports contest at pubsportsradio.com as well. Join that $100 first. Best of luck, guys, for UFC 283. And we will see you guys next week. See you later.